Hello and welcome. Either it's a friendly good morning, get your coffees ready, or it's good evening and you join your Feierabend beer or something else liquidly lovely to join us for an exciting hour of conversation. We are lucky to have again Sascha after 2 years with us from Cognigy, and we are excited to learn about the progress Cognigy and their customers have made, and a bit more about what happened in the last 2 years as the pandemic has touched a lot of businesses in a friendly or less friendly way. So we're curious on that one as well, Sascha. But welcome to the floor, and please introduce yourself, Sascha.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Great to be back, and it's a pleasure to be here this evening. A lot has happened in the last 2 years at Cognigy, and very happy to tell a little bit more about this. A very exciting market space that we are in, and excited to have this conversation for you to make it very interesting for everyone else to join us.
Cool.
Tell us a little about Cognigy.
Well, I hope I can be heard loud and clearly here. Get a sign.
We can.
Amazing, good stuff. So I founded Cognigy together with Philip Heltewig and Benny Mayer back in 2016, and we early on got introduced to conversational interfaces, and every one of us probably has one of them at home with Amazon Alexa and with the Google Homes and other devices of that sort. It was really interesting for us to dive further into conversational interfaces. Also seeing those commercials that IBM put out there back in 2016 around Watson. We all know, or many of us know, what commercials and discrepancy on functionalities and features, how that can look like. But yeah, we saw an opportunity there, and we founded Cognigy. Nowadays, a global vendor, not only a global vendor, but actually a Gartner Magic Quadrant global vendor for enterprise conversational AI. And we are powering up enterprise contact centers with conversational AI technology, automating conversations on chat, omni-channel, digital channels, and on the phone lines, meaning you can actually have a voice conversation, a telephone conversation with an AI that understands what are you saying, and thereby fully automate processes in the contact center or contact center that you would usually handle manually if you had available enough agents. And that's something I think we will dive into in this conversation here as well. There is a shortage and a really big problem that we're solving in the industry with conversational AI. Headquartered in Düsseldorf, but around the world with offices in the US, Australia, the UAE, in UK, and across Europe. And so we are a global partner for businesses that want to transition into a bright future of new customer experiences that is loved by everyone. So, and there is a bright future ahead, but also a way to go.
And as a good news to the German market, just about to be a unicorn, right?
Well, let's see. I mean, a lot has happened in terms of VC and valuations and stuff. But for sure, we are on a super exciting growth path.
Yeah.
Backed by the that would be nothing if we hadn't had.
Talking about super exciting, which is the German internet connection, clearly not.
We just have the takeouts by the censorship by Deutsche Telecom. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Could you repeat that exciting part again, Sascha? As unfortunately, we were wild guessing who is backing you up as VC because we couldn't hear it.
I'm sorry about that.
No, easy does it. In the worst case,
blame it on Deutsche Telecom.
and take away the blur. Yeah.
Yeah, let's try
usual
that.
word is that naming Germany a third world country in terms of infrastructure is an insult to the third world countries.
That might be it. All right, I was saying that.
Agreed, Mitch. Agreed. And so we go on.
All right. Let's see if that is getting any better here. So I was saying to your question whether we are approaching unicorn status or not. Well, is that really important, right? Yes, we are on an absolutely exciting growth path backed by really renewed investors from the US, but also from Europe. And that wouldn't be anything if we hadn't had such exciting customers that we serve with our technology and with everything that we do as an enterprise partner for enterprise conversational AI.
That is exactly the trigger word: customers. Which one you have and serve?
Well, there are many.
Talk about.
There are many across the globe, but maybe we can just pick out a few. But I think if you look at the DAX 30 or even beyond before the DAX 40, there are many that are among the customers that we work with. So from a Mercedes-Benz, a Bosch, the Lufthansa Group, but also companies like Biotronic or Arak Insurance and others in this industry that have opted into providing a new way of customer experiences for their customers. And also internationally, we've got a huge presence in the US as well, but even in Saudi Arabia, super inspired by what companies in the Middle East are doing with our technology. This is absolutely at the forefront of new digital customer experience. And many of them are our customers and have been our customers for many years. And we do see them maybe sometimes even starting with smaller projects, but over the time, and you asked for what has changed in the last 2 years or even beyond from before, we were able to carry many businesses forward from the past and sign up new businesses, and they are taking a journey with us. And their conversation volumes have significantly increased. So all the way to millions of interactions every month that are being automated. And someone would think, hey, automation, you're ripping away some jobs, etc. That's actually not the case in our industry, unlike you would think. But these enterprises that I was just referring to all struggle with a big issue in their contact centers of not having enough agents available at the right point in time in order to serve their customers instantly. And I know that from, and you probably as well, when these days when someone sends a WhatsApp message and you see my friend has received this message and why is he not replying, that creates a sense of urgency. And while that sounds funny, this is actually what we are putting forward as an expectation to businesses. Serve customers whenever they want, wherever they want, on which channel they like, where they think they can best be helped. And we can support that by a variety of different channels and the indefinite scalability of an enterprise platform that does that without having the constraints of agent availability. And what enterprises are these days doing is they preserve their valued agents for those customers that really have an issue that need to talk to an agent and trying to automate it as much as, for example, the authentication, ID and verification process or the standard IVR touch tone application with conversational AI so that customers are getting to the right agent with the right information and with the right access to backend tools like at the first shot. Because we also need that if we are being forwarded from one agent, I have to explain our story again. you forward to another agent, and then finally we find someone who is actually able to help us. That is all inefficient customer service, and that's something that will for a big time go away with when being able to deploy smart self-service applications with conversational AI for these enterprises.
Now we are talking conversational AI. What people often hear when the word or the term conversational AI comes up is they hear chatbots, which is probably not the same. So in your words, what do you think, or what do you see as the main differentiators between chatbots and conversational AI?
Yeah, I would also go with that statement. A chatbot on a website, that just sucks, and you cannot just push everything into that small little pop-up widget on a website and expect it to be the best interface to resolve issues through that channel. Sometimes it's just what you're seeing there is a first iteration of companies, enterprises exploring this type of new technology, and what you're also seeing is that companies then take it into further embedded applications on their websites, on wherever the customers are, on the channels that they like. For example, just recently, Kaufland introduced a new way of getting the latest and greatest price discounts on WhatsApp interface, right? So that's something that where these enterprises are exploring new ways communicating with customers, where they are and where they can be provided with the best service. And what we are still seeing in the industry is that there's a lot of simple FAQ bots that you could also ask, be able to answer with a simple FAQ. But enterprises started to explore this space. Now, there is a lot above and beyond that. Where first iteration, if you could think about being able to connect your customers with a chat widget or on WhatsApp with an agent. So the ability for your customer to be helped automatically, but then forwarded to an agent that can actually interface with systems. So there's a maturity into conversational AI with these aspects. And it goes on with functionalities, for example, with live translation. You could now serve your customers in a variety of different languages in whatever markets you're active. It's being auto-translated, and the agent receives communication in his language, his or her language, according to what the translation settings are. And that really has a big business impact, because suddenly you don't need to have call centers, contact centers in each region. You could centralize a little bit of customer service, and thereby reduce also the need for extended training in all the different geographics and locations. And now, if you take that journey on, you would get into a next heights in terms of embedding it into your phone systems, what we call conversational IVR. So suddenly that AI technology that you're deploying on WhatsApp is also capable serving your customers on the phone line. So our AI then translates the incoming voice into text and metadata. We run ML AI models to understand what is the user saying, and we can have a free-form conversation with the users, and then avail that as an additional channel. And now what happens is that these channels and the experiences are coming together as a consistent story, as a consistent customer experience. And now, as a next iteration, you can install and avail smart self-services for some topics. An enterprise might identify high-volume, repetitive tasks that don't need manual interactions, and then you can avail these services as smart self-service to users. And if you then iterate that a little more, the real differentiator comes in if you're not only doing simple FAQ, answering questions, because the key here is the systems are really good in understanding what the user wants. The real challenge is providing the correct and the right answers. Where should that come from, right? So we as a conversational AI provider and the enterprises need access into the enterprise systems, into the CRM systems of the world, into whatever systems they need, systems of record, in order to provide a quote, to provide answers to a question on an invoice, to negotiate a down payment or whatnot. And when we see that maturing from simple FAQ into what we call transactional conversational AI. As you can imagine, like utilities these days have massive amount of volumes of interactions being approached with all the questions that their customers have.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's a lot of repetitive work, right? A lot of repetitive questions. And E.ON, as one of our customers, is able to serve customers globally with their conversational AI deployment, and thereby helping so many customers that they would not have any chance serving in a manual way.
For our international audience, E.ON written is one of the energy providers, very famous and largely spread over German-speaking Europe. And as we have that worldwide discussion on rising prices, I just was wondering if you give me a little extra tick before we go for Mitch's statement. Is there an integration, for instance, to those modern telecommunication systems, which are now the new switchboards, such as a box or software from audio codes, Teams, and these other software packages, which are doing the modern call center environment from software side, not if it's a dedicated solution software?
Absolutely. Well, on the one hand, that for us is a channel question. So yes, we are not only able to serve customers on a variety of different channels, customer facing, but we a lot of times work with large enterprises, and they, as much as they have customer facing issues, they also have internal operational tasks that can be automated with conversational interfaces. And so companies like Bosch or even E.ON and others, they do as much work on internal facing projects as they are doing on external facing projects. And that also shows the power of conversational AI when thinking about internal facing. What you rather are referring to also is a really interesting industry question that is not yet resolved. We are seeing that the traditional providers like the Avaya, Cisco's, Genesis of the world, they want to still own the conversation or provide the technology that owns the conversation with the end customer. At the same time, like a Salesforce is making massive pushes into owning the customer experience. And that creates a really interesting market environment right now that we are seeing more and more fragmented. And there's many reasons why enterprises cannot just rip and replace their existing telephony infrastructure, for example, the ACDs and stuff. They cannot just directly move into the cloud. That would be a massive lift for them. So one of the questions is, how can I step by step avail this transition into the cloud and connect to those systems that are cloud native, that are cloud ready already? And this is exactly where we do see a strong footprint of ours here with an embeddable technology that on the one hand absolutely connects with SIP trunks and stuff like that. Don't want to go too technical there, into the existing call center infrastructure, but at the same time also connects into the enterprise and thereby unifies the ability which systems are being accessed and which systems will provide a certain service in order to serve customers in an automated way. And that is, once that's fully understood and embedded by enterprises, that is super powerful and massive.
I see there a large market, as I am checking very much the scalability and the enabling. Just get rid of the classical telecommunication bits and pieces. Goodbye Alcatel, goodbye the switchboard stuff. Go for software-driven and hardware-driven components. And then you have dedicated computer infrastructure, which is for the telecommunication, like you mentioned, some technology. But it comes to the point where there comes software involved as well. And then the monopoly of some friends or less friendly people, Salesforce, Microsoft, which would like to own very strongly the access and the connections to that technology by the APIs and not opening them too fast to take some of the money, is the opportunity for organizations like yours to get into that as well and enable audio codes or other systems to do an extra machine learning exercise to the advantage of getting the agents in the organizations enabled wherever they are to get a benefit in understanding what the customer wants in his native language, and then give back some answers in the language of the customers. That would enable, for instance, organizations in South America, where WhatsApp is very famous, to do some more WhatsApp-driven business, yeah, and get back to the organizations wherever they are in the world, yeah, and deliver in their languages. Fascinating opportunity.
Absolutely.
I applaud this.
Yes, and a topic that we haven't spoken about is functionality that comes along with this, what we call agent assist, meaning we are, with conversational AI, helping agents to do their job more efficient, better, more guided, and thereby enhance the customer experience.
Cool.
So you can envision that as a bot, a site that helps the agent, listens into the conversations, and then proactively suggests next best actions, content that can be forwarded to a customer, or fully automatically pull up the right CRM information, so that the conversation can be tailored and personalized. And that is another domain that we are whaling with this technology, fully embedded into the experiences of the agents, and thereby make the agent's life much easier. And
let's go back to Mitch's observation and point of view, which is not compelling only from the perspective that we did some reading, Mitch, on your latest articles and were thrilled by some findings, but it is also looking into where do we stand right now? Chatbot versus website, conversational AI. Thomas, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I wouldn't disagree, but that's actually a question to the expert in the house, right?
Sascha. Sascha.
Is enterprise CAA not yet defined? I probably would disagree, but depends on the clarity of definition. But I'm really interested in your point of view there, as you are doing enterprise CAI.
Well, I think with a big step into that direction was Gartner putting out a Magic Quadrant for enterprise conversational AI. So I think that was a big step, right, in defining it, if I get that question correctly here. But so I think, yes, there is a defined term, and there is a defined scope of what an enterprise conversational AI platform needs to be able to deliver. And that is going to evolve, right? We are seeing a lot of research being written around that these days on what should be part of the enterprise stack in order to make it enterprise. Because here's also one thing, that you could go to so many vendors out there to get your basic FAQ bot, right? Mm-hmm. Don't pay much, very little effort, get it onto your website. But is that true enterprise? And that's one of the key focus areas that we have identified very early on for us, right? It comes with scalability questions, with security questions, with user access right management, with the ability to orchestrate users, like enterprise users who have access to a platform, with the ability to maybe embed it with single sign-on functionalities, with the ability and to deploy it in various deployment models, meaning not everyone is ready for public SaaS. Maybe you need to go for a managed service. Maybe you need to even go on-prem with a solution. On-prem in this term, meaning you get a license key and you deploy that on whatever provider you like. But the ownership of an infrastructure is super important. And there, if you really dive into this fragmented market space and then carve out who's really enterprise ready with its functionalities and feature set, then you are down to maybe 10 vendors in this market that really are competing against each other on that level. And that's exactly where we positioned ourselves in that leaders quadrant.
I was just Googling a little bit, checking the Gartner glossary. Interestingly enough, enterprise CAI doesn't appear in their glossary yet.
Oh, interesting.
Well,
Which is also quite telling, actually. I know of the quadrant, but it's quite telling that this one doesn't appear yet. So,
or that Gartner is not knowledgeable enough.
Or
Little teaser.
Or they didn't upgrade their glossary yet. What are core components of something that can be called enterprise CAI then?
Well, I said before, I think a very important question is really what kind of deployment model is anticipated, and does an organization want to really go full public SaaS infrastructure? Yeah. And there are many reasons why they can't, they don't want to yet, right? So we spoke about the transition into cloud services, but maybe even not fully to that in the future. Because there might even be reasons for not to do that. And so we are seeing with many of our customers that that this deployment question really is one of the key questions that they need to solve for. But then again, if you then had a very closed environment that you cannot in a market environment that is constantly changing and evolving, and that you cannot adopt to your needs, that would restrain and restrict yourself from using best of breed technology in this market, that also would be an issue on its own. And so that's why, for example, we do ship an NLU. We do ship a native NLU in 100 plus languages with our platform. But we, at the same time, also have native integrations into IBM Watson, into Google Dialogflow, into Microsoft technology. Because there might be even previous investments made into such technology, and you might want to reuse some of that when bringing in a platform, because that is one thing that we see in this market really be a differentiator, is a powerful low-code tooling, so that this topic expands above and beyond just the technical audience into the line of business users, into having an integrated team that not only consists out of IT people, but actually understand the business value and the business processes, and who can contribute in then setting up these environments. So the low-code tooling is super important with that. And then the native integrations into the enterprise. We spoke about that before. We got a powerful marketplace with pre-built integrations into all the major software providers that have native APIs available, but even then also an open source framework so that you can embed into any kind of backend legacy technology that might exist that you need to connect to in order to have your use cases come to life. And last but not least, a modern architecture when it comes to deployment and to scalability. So the infrastructure that we do deploy for our customers is fully Kubernetes based, a microservice architecture that has almost infinite scalability, if you like, and that is something really important because, for example, when Lufthansa had their shutdowns here in Germany with the airlines, guess how many millions of transactions happened during a very, very short period of time. And if that's the only available channel that customers can interact with at that point in time, because everything else is also busy, you might want to set yourself up for really situations where this technology then needs to sustain high volumes and loads. With that said, I think it's this the technology on its own, the technology, the platform itself is being introduced. New features are being introduced to that on a bi-weekly basis. Actually, we do release some
bi-weekly.
Yeah.
Wow.
With agile development practices and stuff like that. So there's constant development on this platform with all the process behind. Of course, we're talking about enterprise around security and stuff like that, and all the process that you need in order to ship such a technology on this level. But what that allows us is to react to market developments very, very quickly. And we just recently had new customers signing up saying, okay, this is a functionality that we really, really need. And we said, okay, that's something that we can prioritize because it not only makes sense for you, dear customer, but it makes sense for everyone, right? And so with that said, once Meta opened up the new WhatsApp APIs, we were among the first ones to fully embed it with all the features of voice recordings, images, and videos and everything. So, because many are talking like, yeah, I have a WhatsApp endpoint, but what they mean with that is they have a chat like text endpoint. And that is super limited. There's so much more you can do with this.
Yeah.
And so you really need to dive into platform capabilities there, do your diligence checks, because on the marketing materials, you would assume that everyone could deliver that. But it comes really down to a trusted provider that knows what they're doing, with large enterprises. And that's why we are super proud of, on the Gartner Peer Insights, having the highest rating on customer experience and with customer feedback. And it makes us really proud to be able to serve these customers with so amazing use cases.
So in general, you would agree to Mitchell's statement, yeah, that the main difference V1, V2 is having API routing in the channel mix.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. And I think I said that before. Understanding what the user wants is one part, but being able to answer, to then guide them into the right processes to help them with exactly what they want, that's the real challenge. And that's also where canned solutions or anyone talking templates, etc., yes, that gets you a head start. But you always need to adopt that and tailor that to your exact enterprise needs in order to serve your customers in your best way. And I think that is something that where we have bridged that gap very, very easy in order to get started without really technical knowledge. Then with templates that get you started quickly, but then with full customization possibilities and enterprise features that you really need in order to deploy this. And then with that, so many new use cases are becoming possible for enterprises that we haven't even thought about. So, for example, in the US, we have a customer that monitors pacemakers for the heart. And what they are doing now with the help of conversational AI, if they are seeing anomalies, they are instantly calling people up. If they get them on the phone, they ask questions, qualifying questions, and if they see something is not right, they initiate next actions on medical help. Use cases that are not possible at scale with traditional call centers, outbound call centers.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think thereby we're contributing to many, many new use cases that would otherwise not be possible.
And I see here utilization, for instance, as a company like CarePass is delivering something like a listening bot to a special care patient who is under constant observation by doctors remotely. And they have, by the smartness of the recognition system, the ability to react a lot faster and aid and help where it is needed.
100%. Yeah.
What do you think are the most common fallacies of implementing a system, of setting one up and to succeed? Because I mean, this is probably because bad news are good news and good news are no news, but why does one hear so much about failed implementations and customers being unhappy, or well, customers of companies who use a CIA system being unhappy?
Well, we've also been there and used these systems before, and it's really frustrating if you're just hitting a wall. When I think a lot of this comes down to a good conversation design. So you really need to think about how you want to communicate with your users. What's the tone? Are you opening it up for any question they could ask, or are you narrowing it down to exactly where you want to guide them, right? And so what we've introduced is what we call Cognigy Academy, an open academy, free of charge, where people can go and learn everything around conversational project management, around conversation design, around the basics, what you need in order to get started. And we've seen a tremendous use of our resources there in order to build better bots. And I think with that, you can get a lot out of it. It is that everyone had to have a bot on their website, and that you see some of them disappearing now again, which was expected. But those that have taken it forward and went above and beyond that and understood the real core value of an automated customer experience, that are making embedding it like hell and are really providing amazing customer experiences for their customers. And a lot has to do also with where is the volume for that specific use case. And sometimes it is not on a website. People would not start to Google and try to find the right website on a maybe complex enterprise website. They would rather call in and use the phone as a channel, and being able to serve customers there with their specific needs, or guide them to the right resources. For example, by deflecting them, sending the right content via SMS, definitely a benefit of a technology like ours.
In one of his articles, Mitch made it very vivid in his explanations, such as, let's focus to the intelligence of the conversation, the intelligence in helping the people getting what they want at that exact moment on the channel they are approaching. So help the system to be smart in its answer is one of the tricks.
Yeah, but think about this. If you placed an agent that does not have any training into a call center, that doesn't have any access to any systems, what could he do? He could have a small talk with you, right?
Exactly. That is the advantage you can deliver. Yeah.
In your experience, what is the difference between B2C and B2B orientated systems?
That's a good question. We've seen both. We've implemented a lot of successful use cases for both companies. I think what we are seeing is that many enterprises are trying to use this technology first internally for their own customers, and then availing it for their end customers, because they want to get a feeling around how does this work, what does this do, what does it need, etc. So they're using it internally, and then they're using it as a second step externally, customer facing. And customer facing then is a question: what kind of customers do they serve, right? So we even have we have use cases where enterprises are availing services to other enterprises in order to do better and easier business with them. And I don't know if you've recently purchased or got some POs from large enterprises. You're being forced into their procurement systems and stuff. And if things don't work out according to plan, you are being stuck most of the times asking questions to people that don't respond. And so you have to figure it out yourself. What'd be better if you don't have any service, or if you had a guide, a bot a virtual agent that actually is able to help you with 80%, 90% of the questions that might occur, I think that's much better. And these are deployments that we're seeing being made on a B2B site.
I applaud this, and I have been chased by these this way around, by these non-functional Aruba or God knows what systems used by Atos and others, which force me to do non-human written conversations with, let's say, a system which is trimmed to be not responsive, not understanding, and keeps you in a loop to give them another time frame for not doing the payment because you haven't accessed or done all the things they want you to enter into the system. So the self-service idea here is you do some slave labor for us, we get an extra discount, and we get a prolongation on the already 3 months payment for another 3 months because you didn't make the timeline. Ridiculous. Absolutely. For me, a critical decision to say, I am so happy that I do not need your business any longer. Go for hell. And I choose my partners more carefully by exactly that enabling of such useful technology, honestly. Mitch again. Yeah.
Mitch is active today, so that's a topic.
Not
we need to
today,
know that this is a topic that is very dear to his heart. So there he is
absolutely,
dealing with conversational systems for quite some while. He's one of the deep thinkers in that topic.
Yeah.
Who got
He's very knowledgeable.
Some job in for some time, and now he's back in action, which is good. So,
amazing.
So, in how far?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Boston Consulting Group,
yeah.
For the not informed, audience that typed IVR. So, where are the basic benefits? Are they in cultural area? How do they come into cultural area? Did you see that too?
Well,
it's quite interesting. Maybe Mitch, you should point a link to that research. Then we can publish it as well, because the culture part is quite interesting there. So
I will go for that one especially and challenge my son, who is working for BCG in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, because this is an area I found extremely exciting. And it is MIT is research. Yeah, thank you. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Because the research, MIT, that is future developments and deep research on technology and understanding, whereas BCG is premium consultancy, 10,000 euros a day. So they have to get some findings out of this and give you some smart advice. Elsewise, they are off.
Well, I think this is a super important topic that he's referring to, right? So that the whole change management process that needs to come along with availing such technology and taking the fear away from some of that. Is AI technology going to take my jobs and stuff like that? That is something absolutely important, and we're seeing that as a integral part of any center of excellence that is being built around enterprise conversational AI, because that otherwise will throw too many roadblocks as well in the way, because people don't understand, people don't. AI is a complex topic, right? So what does that do? What is it actually? And this is again where we with local tooling and with the way the education that we do, the academy courses that we provide. I think we are helping project managers navigate through this massive programs and changes that can be implied by what started by this digital transformation, and we're always most of the times we're part of like a bigger digital transformation program. And that's why this is super important. We even have some research going on with university in Kassel, for example, on that topic. We call that hyper-intelligent service and support systems. And it also looks at the transformation aspects and the human aspects of things. All the way going into worker council, what does that mean? Such changes, and how can we win these type of people to become supporters? Because the digital transformation or digital enablement, the digital adoption, basically is already done by 80%. We're using these technologies in our private lives. Many of us are doing.
Yeah.
80%. It's reaching 80% by 2025, studies say. But what we're seeing is that only 5% have adopted smart self-service, and this is only going to increase to 10% by 2025. So there is a lot of room now still for this type of adoption in the enterprise context, and we're just seeing the beginning of it. And yes, we need to take our most valuable resources, our employees, along that journey. And there have been big impacts on the employees in the past. Many contact centers have removed many jobs during the pandemic and are not being able to find these people again. They've moved into other jobs. I recently heard that people are now from the contact center moving into grocery delivery because they're making €2 more an hour from the grocery delivery companies, and they're really struggling finding talent. Back to our point, you need to constantly retrain new people, have a lot of churn, a lot of impact on your workforce, and with the ability to work from anywhere, that has put contact centers into a lot of questions there, and a lot of challenges. And so what we are really seeing here is that, maybe going into some of the takeaways there, but contact center really is the ground zero for near-term conversational AI adoption, with significant conversational AI volumes. But it is only the first chapter of conversational AI adoption, as we just discussed. There's big growth potential for frictionless digital experience, and the ability to assist agents in doing a better job and removing some of the friction abilities from them.
Just playing the stupid user. I call now one of your customers' contact centers, and for the standardized, utilized question and answer game, I have a natural sounding artificial intelligence as my counterpart, until a certain moment when we come to the point where my questions get too much into detail and the AI is no longer able to answer it. He is connecting me to the human in the loop again. Is that correctly understood?
Absolutely. Yeah, we call that agent handover.
Agent handover. Yeah. I find this really compelling and fascinating, as you stated, through the pandemic and the loss of skill and the loss of agents. Either you go for foreign countries, or if you need the right skill and the right attitude, then your way in helping to get this also into a heart and brain combination, such as, my favorite is, can a bot be empathic? Yeah. And Thomas has his point of view, and say, if the technology is smart enough, you don't see or hear the difference. Yeah. As long as we are on the phone or in a good made up conversational tool environment. Yeah.
No,
well, that brings us to
that one. Sorry, Sascha, but now that Ralph took away one of my candidates for the famous last words, we need to get into it. Can a bot show empathy? That's one to you.
Well, that is I think yes. The question is, does it need to be designed for that? So this is part of a bigger topic that we are looking into, and actually that's a really interesting thing that we just recently dived into. The BSI, Bundesamt für Sicherheit in der Informationstechnik, have just recently announced the AI Cloud Service Compliance Criteria Catalog called AIC4. And that looks at exactly some of these topics because it's super important to do these things in a nice and fair way and commit to standards around this topic, around bias and fairness and these things. And this said, we together with Deutsche Telecom, we were among the first ones to being audited by BSE or by PwC actually for the AIC4 Cloud Compliance Criteria Catalog, because we think that is super important. You need a trusted partner that will not, for example, think about this. You had an AI, you kind of configure anything there, and suddenly the AI would think, oh, I don't like this database today, I'm going to switch to another database, although it's technically not possible, but people think that this is the case, right? The question is really, how smart should these systems actually be? How smart are they allowed to be? Because they are, again, thinking about an enterprise, there are sign-off processes, compliance processes, approval processes, everything that you need to take care about when communicating and making statements to your dear customers, that needs to go through certain processes. And how can an AI technology, similar to a website technology where you do have certain approval stages before something is being released on a website, you want exactly that available for your AI technology. And that is a really important topic when thinking about this type of, yes, it can have empathy, but it should not be like unpredictable, doing whatever it think is right. So we don't want a black box that just behaves whatever the AI think is right, but it needs to be manageable, human controlled, and it needs to get better in understanding the customer queries and being able to answer the right or provide the right answers to these questions. That's where AI technology is best used. But above and beyond, we kind of limit its capabilities in order to sustain what an enterprise really needs and wants.
Interesting point. I didn't know that the BSI already is after empathy-like behavior as well, which is cool.
Which is absolutely groundbreaking news, such as the BSI is one of the slowest institutions I have known in my security background, 2007 to several years. If they are making progress here, that is fantastic.
Yeah, and we even wrote an entire white paper around our learnings there and what we think conversational AI in terms of adopting to cloud compliance criteria catalogs are needed. So I can later on share a link maybe for
that would be lovely
white paper on that topic, because it's I think it's a great piece and good support for enterprise want to dive deeper into this topic.
And it is good to sort with some of the prejudices I might have that they are still not the fastest. If they have made progress there, they have made progress in some other areas as well.
Digging a little further also with regards to perceptions of customers. When and how far is it necessary to make it known to customers, people, that they are talking to a bot or a person?
Yeah.
And does it matter at the end of the day?
Yeah, we think it is really important to be transparent around these topics. And so we advise our customers to make it transparent, to say, okay, I'm handing you over to a bot now. The bot is going to take care about this ID and verification. And afterwards, you are being transferred, for example, to human agent. So we think that is super important, because we are very intelligent, and we can sense if something feels like human but is not really like, and that would create an awkward feeling for customers. trying to interact with it. So we think that is super important to make a clear statement. This is an automated conversation. You're being helped by a bot, and make also the cutoff points to an agent we discussed, like the agent handover.
Mm-hmm.
And likewise, there can also be a handover back to the bot after the agent has done his job, and there might be an after conversation, an evaluation of sorts to continue the conversation.
Do you think that will change over time?
Difficult question. I think people will try to change the boundaries. I'm not sure if that will be successful. Technically, yes, but we're quite intelligent.
I don't know as well. So at the end of the day, I sometimes think the outcome is what matters.
Yeah.
And then I don't really care whether it's Ralph, Thomas, Sascha, or Sascha Sport. Yeah. But I don't really know. And
well, you would care if only one of them would be able to help you, but if you are being helped, and if your case is being your problem, or whatever your initiation was to start that conversation, whether that is resolved, I think there's no reason to not like it, right? Because the alternative is waiting in line for many minutes or hours even, and not getting anyone on the phone line, and being helped with an automated system that does a job. It's much better than not being helped at all.
I absolutely agree. Yeah. If you have stayed in one of your friendly customers' communication lines for longer than an hour and waited till they have the end of their office hours, and then no connection to the call center is any longer possible, you would have loved to get an answer by a bot, instead of no solution, and being frustrated and staying alive and on the line for an hour or so. This is also what happens if you have a critical case in getting stress with the reservation systems from German railway, Deutsche Bahn. So sometimes I believe that it is really smart to get that combination done. And on the other end, I'm a bit worried looking into the US. Luckily, you are a German company, and you do not lay off simply by just you feel like cost cutting, throw them away, because you made quite clear that human potential, human skill is extremely valuable. And you should not do hire and fire approaches, because it will take you ages to get the same skill ahead, or you have a smart system like yours. So where do you see the prosperous end of the tunnel, as others lay off to cut costs and make a deficit or decrease in turnover on going heavily into the conversational AI areas?
The question is really, are these cutoffs related to the customer experience, or where are they made these days? So that probably got to be differentiated. But
you're absolutely right. Those were a quote on one of the articles we shared in the group for reading, that 10 billion on pace are loose on other devices like Alexa and similar. So they invested heavily in research and development, but they could not monetize it. So to make this more clear, why I focus on that question, is it a profitable opportunity, a profitable business? And you mentioned a lot of brand names which would not invest if they do not have fun on utilizing it.
I mean, if you look at some of the case studies on our website as well, like the ability to increase reachability by 95%, the CSAT improvements, the reduction in average handling time, the cost that associated with that in high volumes, that's a clear ROI case for many of our customers.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, and adoption does not need to happen with a big bang. You can even start small. You can start with your existing contact center technology, put AI technology, conversational AI technology over the top, start to learn these things, start to shape your processes accordingly, connect one system after another into this into the conversational AI platform, and thereby make your transition step by step. And I think that's very important, because these days the large enterprises don't have resources available to do large rip and replace projects, right? So the lag that we are seeing of valuable resources actually already is cutting in a little bit on the side of enterprises not having available enough resources, project management resources, technical resources to sustain many of their legacy systems, and need to move into the cloud and need to make such sometimes even bold moves. So one of our airline customers in the US, just as of, I think, yesterday, they decided to completely shut down their call center operations and move everything to the digital chat, because they were having so many issues with not being able to equip their call centers with agents to be able to provide a sufficient customer experience and customer service. And that is a big, bold move, right?
Yeah.
But they wouldn't do it if they had other choices, for sure. But we are there in order to help them move everything over to the digital channels, deflect the calls, send them to WhatsApp chatbots or to SMS chatbots, to their websites, help the customers in an automated way. And I think we will see more and more cases of that, enterprises really struggling with this type of, with cost cutting that they have to do due to the economic situations, and not being able to recover fast enough from those as volume picks up again, or to sustain all the questions like we discussed before in the utility sector that the customers have in this uncertain environment. So utilities companies are telling us that they have a 7x higher call volume these days. And that is something that you can't equip for. You need to automate. And we're there to do that.
As we are past the hours and accepting Mitch's apologies, if you have a minute more before I wrap up, I'd like you to look a little into the glass ball. What's the next big thing that you see for CAI?
Well, I think I've alluded to that a little bit before. We are seeing that all the big vendors are in this space. IBM, the Watson story again early on, Google, this Dialogflow, Microsoft, many other vendors out as well. But still, we're seeing many companies turning our way because they really find the value in the way how we approach things with the low-code tooling differently than the large tech vendors are doing it. So we are seeing a next wave of adoption of conversational AI into the enterprise, and that dedicated tooling is required for that. Remember the early days when everyone was coding their websites by custom code. Nowadays, no one would put a website without a proper content management system in, right? And that's exactly what's happening in enterprise conversational AI these days as well. People really see the value, the need to standardize, build center of excellences within their enterprises, across departments, across verticals, and really deploy their next generation customer experience with AI technology And I do see that this is very tangible, that you can get outcomes from, because there is no room right now for any glass ball AI will solve the world type of thinking. You need to get down to, where can I make my improvements? Where can I have a clear ROI on my projects and going forward? And how can I effectively and successfully manage these projects that I'm starting, or that I have started, or that I need to put onto new grounds, because own development approaches have failed in the past. And these are some of the drivers that we're seeing, which put us into a very good position these days, in a very exciting market space that is growing significantly. And Gartner predicts that the CAI market is forecasted to grow from 330 million to 13 billion, with a 72% CAGR by 2026. Not sure if that's going to be the right number there, but nevertheless, there's a lot happening. And with what I said before, even the sales forces, etc., pushing into this, everyone wants to own and needs to own the customer experience. I think that's a super exciting market space that no one can get around with.
Not to forget that friendly company out of Redmond, which are investing heavily in the same technology as well, because they want a piece of the cake. Yeah.
Agree.
Okay, so as we are well past the hour, thanks heaps, Sascha. This was great. This was great.
Thanks for having me. Great conversation.
Every time again. So, well, we should repeat that probably earlier than in 2.5 years. So, thanks a lot to everybody who was in, and for
special
our guests,
thanks to Mitch.
Yeah, we're going to put some links on the stream here later on, that people can come to Cognigy Academy, the white paper that I was talking about, and
that would be great. Appreciate it. Take care.
Okay.
Join us next Tuesday again, and we go backstage.
Thank you very much.